All right, we're back. Now we still talking about perception, right? And now we're about to talk about expectation. Expectation, all right? Now, expectation has to do with perception in that sometimes what we expect to happen becomes what happens. But if we didn't expect that to happen, it might not have happened. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes what we expect is what we perceive regardless of what happens. And that's a trickly one, right? But I want to take this moment, and when it comes to expectation, to talk about how maybe... Well, first about these things called self-fulfilling prophecies. We're going to talk about them, but how you can take hold of a self-fulfilling prophecy and turn it to your positive, to your benefit. You know what I'm saying? Because why not? I'm just saying, why not, right? All right, so now a self-fulfilling prophecy generally has 3 basic sections, right? So the first one is you have a false or potentially false definition of a situation, right? You don't know what's really going on is what you think is going on, right? It's a false, but it could or could not be true, right? It just, so you got that going on. And then you act on that definition of that situation. Right, now that is more moving it into reality. So I might have a neighbor across the street named Joseph, and I might decide that I'm real angry at him, right? I might decide we're having hard times for whatever reason, right? And so I might falsely define the situation. Maybe he just didn't see the text that I sent him, right? But now I'm all cranky about it. And then I act on that definition. Now this is a hypothetical example. This is not really happening because Joseph and I are good. I'm just saying. But if I acted on that false definition and I started to send him like, you're such a bag of shit message, kind of like that, or angry messages, well, then I can get him angry at me. That kind of works with pretty much anybody. Like if you falsely define someone as being negatively predisposed towards you, and then you act on that by being negatively predisposed toward them, you can create the situation that may not have ever existed in the first place. And it really just goes to how you define the situation, how you perceiving it, right? And them voices that you let yourself tell yourself. You got to pay attention to them voices in that they is not the reality. The reality is that you are a being, right? And you has emotions. You ain't an emotional being. No, you're a being with emotions. That makes you bigger than the emotions. And that also makes the emotions smaller and more controllable, right? And so when you get them narratives going on inside your head, pay attention to like whether or not there's actually any substantiation from the other person, whether or not you have like actually asked them calmly what their behavior was intended for. Because a lot of times people just taking care of themselves and they end up accidentally hurting the other person. But if they ain't aware of it, then you can't be quite so angry as if they did it on purpose, right? You hurt me on purpose. I got a stinger. I'm a fucking I'm a Scorpio, right? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so that is expectation, right? Oh, we ain't done with it. I'm sorry. You have a false definition of a situation, you act on the definition, and then because you've acted on that definition, you cause it to be true, right? You see that there? You cause it to be true, right? So, that's actually, though, if you put it into a positive realm, that's what they call the secret, right? The secret to happiness, the secret to money. Yeah, you can take it any direction you want. I like it as the secret to happiness, but then that's my major goal. I like happiness. I think everybody should be happy. Other people are like, they ain't got no right to be happy. They should maybe be well fed, but not happy. We ain't talking about that, right? We're talking about, so the ask, believe, receive, right? Ask, false definition. So you can ask in the positive, right? And then you act on that definition, like believe that it's going to come true, right? And then you receive, right? Which is that you've caused it to be true by... In the case of the secret, they do argue that you can do more thinking about it, but I don't see how you can be thinking about it and not doing stuff about it too, right? So like maybe you falsely define yourself, or we don't know. You have a definition of yourself as a good student, right? And all right, so you are a good student. Define yourself that way. But then number two, shit or get off the, number two is act on the definition, right? If you act on the definition, act like a good student. You do your homework, you do your studies, you turn in your notes, all that stuff, right? Then you can cause the definition of yourself as a good student to be true, right? It ain't gonna happen necessarily just by wishing. You gotta put the actions behind the belief and act as though it has already come to you. Act as though it's already come to you. Believe it, feel it, right? Know it. And that's really what pulls it through to you. That's that second point, right? It works in the interpersonal realm, and it works in your whole, I suppose, law of attraction, affirmation, manifestation realm. Yeah, all right. Well, I'm not ending on that because that ain't what we're really talking about. Number 3 point here is prior experience, right? Now, if you spell it Pryor, we're talking about some artist that had a great experience in the 80s that I let you look up if you need to. But no, the way we want to spell this one is prior experience, as in that which came before. Because the more you have experience in something, the more comfortable you are with the current event that's happened. The more you've experienced an event like the current event in front of you, the more comfortable you is with that. Is are. Yeah. You know what? That comes, there's some really interesting things to talk about when it comes to prior experience, right? Think about, actually, I'm going to tell you, because I'm a small town girl, right? And small town people, they has less opportunity to tumble themselves like rocks in a social milieu because it's a small town, right? Even fewer opportunities if you like a poor person in that smaller town, right? So if you're one of them people that then pops out and says, hey, I ain't going to live in Shepherd, Montana anymore. I'm going to go to the city. And you move to the city. Now, you don't have to be from Montana. You can be from anywhere, right? Right. Anyway, you move to the city, and then people has expectations for you in terms of your behavior that sometimes you feel like you're getting your edges taken off because you never knew you're supposed to do that. You never knew you're supposed to do that. You never done that before, right? Like even going to, and okay, this is a personal experience that I will share with you. I sometimes get my toes painted by other people, right? But the very first time I let a stranger, I put my foot in water that wasn't in my bathtub, and then a stranger came and sat on the other side of that little tub, and she picked up my foot and she started playing with my toes and cutting. Didn't tickle, scared the shit out of me. You know what I'm saying? Because I had no prior experience with that event. And now I go a little bit more regularly now, and I take other people, and so they can have an experience that is unusual. My daddy and I like to go to the place where they cut the nails too. It's real nice. Yeah. So, but it's a result of prior experience, right? Not burning my hair or anything, just prior experience. Yeah. All right. So that was your number 3 point. Let's do our. No, you know what? I'm going to pause here, and I'm going to come back and talk about needs, right? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's what we'll be picking up on. All right. I'll chat you later real soon. All right. Bye.